Okay, so this is an orientation to the week 1 module. Every week I'm going to post a module. It will appear on Monday. This one, I'm going to go ahead and publish it on August 17th. You can look at it. I doubt if many of you will, but you might want to take a look at it. But anyway, it's here for you to look at. But of course, you don't have to look at it until school starts on the 21st. And again, for about the 10th time, you'll be quizzed on this material beginning on Friday, the 25th, which is the first week of class. And you've got until the following Monday at midnight to take the quiz on the material from the week 1 module. Okay, so here's the home page. There's Beyonce looking very happy in front of Prada Marfa. Let's go to modules. And you see the week 1 module. You just hit the arrow and suddenly it appears. So the way I'm doing it, when I put something in all caps, basically everything under what I put in in all caps is what is the section of that module. Okay, so the first section of the module is course intro and week 1 study guide, and there are three parts to that. The class orientation, which I recorded, that tells you about how the course is structured. There's a funny Megan Thee Stallion video from Jimmy Fallon, less than a minute. I like to get Texas stuff into my course whenever I can. And then the week 1 study guide, which is actually what you're listening to now. The next section is the podcast lecture. Every week I post a podcast lecture for the week. It's usually somewhere between 60, 70 minutes, sometimes as much as an hour and a half, depending on the material for the week. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And what you'll see is the outline of the podcast lecture. I don't think it's a bad idea to cut and paste these outlines, because anything I put on an outline, I feel like I can quiz you on or test you on. So don't blow off the outlines. They are significant, and they really guide me when I create the quizzes and the tests. Now, the actual lecture itself is here. You click on that. And what you're going to see, are 5 podcasts that I've put together. Ignore the titles for this week. It goes from 1 to 3 to 2 to 5 to 6. There's a reason for that. I'm not going to explain why there's a reason, why I did it that way. Just ignore it. Okay. Just listen to the podcast from beginning to end, and just ignore the titles. The podcast will make a lot of sense when you listen to it from beginning to end. So that's the podcast, and every week I'll be probably, at most weeks, some weeks I won't record podcast lectures, but most weeks I will. Okay, so let's go back now to, so let's go back now to modules. So the first section is the course intro and week 1 study guide. The next section is the podcast lecture, which you access here. Then there are a couple of, the third section is online readings, pre-Columbus, Texas. I'm having you look at 2 indigenous groups, the Caddo and the Karankawa, that were here before the Spanish arrived in Texas. There were many, many other indigenous groups that were here, but I'm just focusing on these 2 for this week. So what you have here is the online documents that I want you to take a look at. And again, the way you access it is through this symbol here. And they're very short. So I just want you to read the first page here. Okay, so there's that. Let me go back to modules. So course intro and week 1 study guide, 3 sections, podcast lecture right here, online reading, the Caddo, the Karankawa. Then I'm having you look at the history of Cabeza de Vaca, the Spaniard who washed up ashore in Texas in the late 1520s. It's an amazing story. It's the first significant European encounter with Texas. That's why I want you to learn about it. So what I have under de Vaca, I have a brief documentary about de Vaca to give you an orientation about de Vaca. I have a map of the de Vaca journey. So I'll show you that map. Take a look at this map. It's again, you always have to hit this symbol. Maps just can explain so much. So don't blow it off. Take a look at the map. It'll really help you understand the de Vaca journey. And watch the video as well. I try to present the material in an organized fashion. I don't always succeed, but I think I'm pretty good at it. Then I have a discussion by Frank de la Teja. There are four brief discussions from Dr. de la Teja. He is a retired professor, eminent professor at Texas State, and he has some very, very interesting things to say about Cabeza de Vaca. These are short videos. Watch them. He will really help you understand de Vaca. Then, very importantly, I'm having you read a document that de Vaca wrote. It's called La Religion. He wrote it after he went back to Spain. I'm having you read excerpts from it. I'm not having you read the whole thing. Dr. De La Teja talks about this document, so you'll have some orientation. So what you do, it's in a Word document format. And what you do is you go in and if you hit that arrow, you can download the document or you can read it from your screen, okay? It's very important. You're going to be tested on this document. Again, it's not that long. It's 11 pages, and it's de Vaca's words themselves. Okay, so, and then I give you a primary course analysis worksheet. And basically what that is, I'm just trying to guide you on how to study the de Vaca excerpt that I'm having you read. You don't have to turn in that worksheet. Just take a look at it though, because again, I'm telling you what it is I'm looking for in this primary analysis, in the primary document that you're reading. A primary document is something that's written by a historical character themselves. So again, this is just to guide you as you read the de Vaca material. And then there's a quiz at the bottom. Let me close this down. There's a quiz at the bottom of the quiz is always going to be at the bottom of the module, but you won't be able to see the quiz until next Friday, the 28th. Okay, so that's the week one module. That's the material on the week one module. It's got the course information. It's also got a discussion of the week one module itself, as well as the data that I want you to know from week one as well. Lecture, documentaries, excerpt of de Vaca's writing, and a study guide, hopefully presented to you in a way that makes sense.